Thank you so much. Broken watch, broken phone, frozen phone, tap, 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 nothing happens. So we can do our normal thing. We can Google, we can try to fix the problem that way. We can look it up in an instruction manual. But when it comes to a broken heart or a frozen mind, not such an easy fix. That's a whole nother story. Watches and phones have something in common: keeping time. Time is such a fragile commodity. When someone we love is seriously ill, or worse, they've passed away, on one hand, we want time to stop. We cannot understand how life is moving forward. On the other hand, we want time to fly by so fast because we do not want to endure another second without our loved ones. What has helped me move gently through time, and I'll always say gently, is nothing by my own means, and it changes throughout the years. Time truly stopped the day before Thanksgiving when our family received devastating news about our 10-year-old daughter, Christina. They had found a mass on Christina's spine, and in my mind, they were going to remove the mass, and we were going to get on with the holidays and get on with our life and move forward. But it was like a scene out of a movie, except it was real. Christina went in for surgery, and the doctor came out way too early. He pulled my husband and I into a closet-sized room. Wish I was kidding about the size of this room. And he turned to us and he said, "Mr. and Mrs. Bowers, Christina has cancer." I froze. I could not hear one more word. It was like watching a Charlie Brown cartoon. Remember that teacher with the wah, 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 wah? That's what it sounded like. And to top it off, the rest of the world is spinning in holiday mode. And I'm struggling to find the words. I mean, how do you tell your kid when they wake up from surgery that they have cancer? When Christina woke up, I said, "Christina, we have our answers. We know now why you've been so sick. You have cancer. But the doctors here, they're going to help and they're going to fix things. But we're going to make a promise and a deal, you and me, right here, right now. We will never ask God, why me? Why me? Instead, we will say, use me, use us." You see, no matter where your faith lies, no matter what you believe or don't believe, when we ask to be used for something so much greater than ourselves, two things can enter in: hope and purpose. Sure, we're scared. I mean, we're the parents, we're in charge. We're supposed to know how to fix things, especially when it comes to our kids. But the truth is, our kids sometimes end up fixing things. Our kids end up teaching us. They have so many life lessons to show us, but we are so blinded by everyday responsibilities. Talk about a huge responsibility. Living in Children's Hospital of Orange County in Orange, California, better known as CHOC. That was a huge responsibility. But Christina had this way of turning dismal situations into beautiful opportunities. She loved life. Oh, this photo is so indicative of how she lived her life, reaching up for everything Nothing was impossible. Nothing was out of reach, even rainbows. There was a beautiful rainbow painted on one of her bedroom walls that my husband and Christina created themselves. And I never knew the story behind that rainbow till years later when one of Christina's classmates shared a story with me. She said, Mrs. Bowers, you know what we were doing in Christina's room, right? And I said, no. I heard lots of giggling and commotion and furniture moving. And she said, yes, the furniture was when Christina asked us to move her desk against that wall with the rainbow. And then we jumped up and down a lot. But Christina said, you gotta believe. You gotta believe to make it through. And then her sweet classmate said, Mrs. Bowers, I do believe Christina made it through. What a gift. What a gift I received that day. Christina loved singing, dancing, making up her own routines. She loved enlisting her little brother Teddy, who was 7 at the time when she was diagnosed. She loved joyful noise. So how does a kid in a hospital deal with joyful noise? Well, karaoke, hours of it before a procedure, hula dancing before her transplant. You see, Chalk had a playroom on every floor, and Christina took the stage, just bringing life into the darkness, into the quiet. Christina felt a responsibility to the other kids on that floor as well. You see, she had no idea they all had cancer. And when she learned this, she said, Mom, these kids are so young. They're so little, Mom. At least I can tell you how I feel. But they're so young. Mind you, my daughter was 10. She also felt a responsibility to every visitor that came. And every single day, family or friends did visit Christina. And once again, she called on her little brother for assistance. People would enter and she would say, Teddy, offer them something to eat or drink. Christina could barely eat or drink herself. Sometimes she couldn't even speak because of the mouth sores. So she kept a whiteboard and dry erase markers near her bedside. And she would write special messages to people when they entered, making sure they were okay, making sure they felt special. Christina had this way of making people feel that way from the start. Arms wide open, greeting every day with such a joyful heart and a kind spirit. I was blessed. I had a husband, a daughter, a son, a dog. But I was that crazy parent with that big planner. I know everything's in our phones right now and in our computer, but I had the big one, and I started mapping out my plan for my kids. Grade school, high school, scholarships, college. But sometimes when we get so crazy about the distant future, we miss out on moments that are right here, right now. Christina still shows me this. And I have to be grateful for these moments. The magnitude of Christina's gratitude shone through, particularly one day in her hospital room. Mom, thank you for bringing me into this world. These were the words my daughter spoke in the sweetest voice with the kindest smile as the first round of chemo was being pumped into her body. the very substance that could rob her of life. And she's thanking me for this gift. I said, Christina, you know it wasn't me, right? It was God. She said, I know, but thanks. These words started the journey, broke down all barriers, and put everything into perspective. And every step that Christina took from that moment on inspired and encouraged others. She had this way of making those ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences. And a lot of those experiences throughout her short life revolved around youth sports. Oh, I hear some of you moaning when I say youth sports. How can I hear you? I have Zoom ears. What are Zoom ears? I have no idea. Christina loved sports. I love sports. I played, I competed. I got to coach both of my kids. One year I was head coach for Teddy's baseball team and Christina's softball team. I wore two jerseys, one over the other, and walked field to field. It was the best. It was a blast. Christina's main sport was softball. She was a pitcher and she had that mental toughness. Now, sometimes she would ask me, Mom, why do girls cry sometimes during softball? And I would say, I don't know, but don't you do it. She also loved the childlike things that revolved around youth sports, like picking a team name. I have no idea why, but everything had a color. We were the pink puppies. We were the green storm. We were the orange tigers. One year, we were assigned as the Cougars. So Christina and I thought it would be great to make up really hard skills to get better, and we did, but also to have a reward that would be so much fun. So we invented the Hungry Cougar Award. If you are hungry for the ball, you got an oversized Kit Kat. Not a bad deal. But after Christina was diagnosed, it was as if she was trying to teach me another life lesson. It was if she was trying to say, hey, Mom, the game's not on the field anymore. The game's over here now. This is the one. This is the one that counts. The game of life. We are not defined by who we are on any field or any competition. It's the qualities we carry off the field. We as adults compete. We're in game of life situations all the time. We've trained for years for endurance, for excellence, for success. How are we out of a meeting, off a Zoom call? Aye, how many Zoom calls? Are we going to wait to play in the game of life? What does victory look like to us? Christina didn't wait, and she found true victory on May 29th, 2005, 16 years ago, this May, this same month. I call it Christina winning the championship game of life. And 16 years later, people still ask me, how do you do it? How do you go on after watching your daughter suffer and pass away? And the first thing I say is, kids are not our own. They are gifts we get for a season. And then I go on to say, how could I watch my own daughter live with such a powerful spirit even during the toughest storms of her life and not carry mine? It's my turn. It's my turn to play in the game of life. And you want to talk about a powerful spirit? Christina's spirit soared the night of March 11th in 2005. You see, Christina and Teddy just transferred to a school called Calvary. It was K through 12, and we had so much love and support. Christina was going into 5th grade, Teddy into 2nd. One of the high school coaches approached me. She was the varsity soccer coach. Now, Christina did play softball, that was her main thing, but she also loved soccer and other sports as well. And the dream was Christina would play both soccer and softball when she got to the high school side. The coach approached me and said, Mrs. Bowers, we want to create an award in Christina's name, and we want Christina herself to present it at our banquet in March. And it's going to the athlete who shows the most perseverance and courage this soccer season. And I thought, that's amazing, but I have no idea where Christina's going to be in her treatment at that point. That week of March 11th, Christina showed no signs of going home. But I'll never forget the day before the banquet. One of the doctors walked in and said, Mrs. Bowers, Christina's not ready to go home. But we trust that you and your husband will know what to do. And we understand the importance of this banquet. What a gift. What a gift we received. Christina was so excited to wake up the morning of the banquet. No, she didn't feel well at all, but she was so happy to get dressed up in this pretty new dress we bought and a new hat because, yes, she had lost her hair. We drove to the banquet as a family. Christina was holding my hand because she was too weak to walk by herself. We approached the room, a huge banquet room filled with 200 people. And when we got the signal, Christina pushed my hand away. And with a white blood cell count of 0, but a heart filled with joy, Christina marched up to a podium. And with the brightest smile, she said, I'm Christina Bowers. Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight. This award, it's not about me. It's about Christ working through me. It's not about me. Oh, these words still ring loud today. It was not about cancer. It was not about Christina. It was about Christina allowing herself to be used for something so much greater. To encourage others, to inspire others. It's not about us either. No matter where your faith lies, no matter what you believe and don't believe, when we ask to be used for something so much greater than ourselves, that is how we move on. But that nagging question comes in. How? I mean, we just poured our heart and soul into our loved ones, and it doesn't have to be our child. It could be a spouse, a brother, a sister, a friend. We lose ourselves. There's no boundary lines anymore. There's no schedule. There's no routine. Well, I have to tell you, there's no easy fix. There's no instruction manual with these magical answers. Oh my goodness, if I shared how many books I was given, and I knew they came from a loving, kind place from others, but I wasn't ready. And then society. Society steps in and says, it's time. It's time to move on. Okay, and why are you whispering? Is that supposed to make it hurt any less? No, your journey is not my journey. My journey is not yours, but every time I share my journey, it's with the hope that you find your new steps, that you find your new way and new purpose. But again, how? How do we get back to ourselves? And I say to people, what do you like doing? What are your passions? Put yourself on a schedule. It could be the simplest steps. It could be 3 things for that day. And it starts the moment you wake up. When I wake up, before I even open my eyes, I say, thank you, God, for this day. Please use me. For you, it might be meditation, or maybe you keep a little journal by your bed and you write down right when you wake up what you're grateful for or who you're grateful for. Waking up with that gratitude instead of attitude, that same gratitude that Christina had, big and small, in every moment of her life, even when it got tough. And then I also recommend have something right in front of you when you wake up that inspires you. For me, I have a scripture on the back wall. And when I wake up, that's what I see. For you, it might be your favorite quote, a painting, a photo. Maybe you turn on your favorite song, something to inspire you. Because how you set those first moments in motion dictates the rest of your day. And then incorporate your passions while you're honoring your loved ones. What do I mean by that? We all have gifts. We've all been given gifts. For me, one gift is I can make people laugh. I've done it since I was little. I used to enter talent shows in grade school and high school. I grew up in Fort Lee, New Jersey, right across the bridge from New York City. And in my mind, I was going to New York. I was going to be a stand-up comic until my mother said, no, we're moving to Florida and you're going to pick a school. Was I devastated? Yes, but that was my mom, and she had wisdom, and I respected and loved her. Did that stop me from making people laugh? Not at all. In fact, I still had that dream in my head. One day I was going to perform for this huge audience, and I was going to make them laugh. And you know what the crazy thing is? I got that chance, but it was for an audience of one. It was for my daughter in a hospital room. And I took every stuffed animal and everything that wasn't nailed down to the walls became my props in her hospital room. And I performed routines over and over again. And Christina laughed and she smiled and she was so happy. And that helped her through some painful times. That was my greatest performance. I still like making people laugh even now, especially through tough times. Another thing for me is I do love sports and I like working out hard. For you, it might be taking a walk. For me, it's got to be a fast walk. And you can ask Lynn in the Palm Beach bar office about our fast walks in Palm Beach years ago. I think she's forgiven me by now. I decided to become an online fitness coach. My members in my challenge group are called Christina's Crew. We have shirts. They say Christina's Crew on the front and her "It's Not About Me" quote on the back. Sometimes when I speak, and it could be to kids and adults alike, I like to give out little gifts that have Christina touches. That's what I call them. And one gift I've given out many times through the years is a game of life softball. On one side of the ball, it says game of life. On the other side, it has Christina's name and the date that she truly won, May 29th, 2005. And I ask people when they receive this to hold on to it, to grasp it. Remember Christina, to be inspired, to be encouraged, to not wait one more second, to play in the game of life now. I love to write. That is another gift I've been given. It used to be poems, short things. In fact, I had 2 poems published before Christina got diagnosed. I was writing poems when Christina fell asleep in the hospital. I was finding scraps of paper around the room and I just kept writing. But after Christina passed away, my friends encouraged me. They said, you know, you need to write a book. And I said, a book? How do you write a whole book? But I knew I had to do it. Yet it had to mean something to everybody. And then it dawned on me. We all face loss, and we all have that ache to say more to our loved ones after they're not here anymore. So in my mind, in my heart, there's a huge mailbox in heaven, and it never gets full. So I write to Christina as I tell her story. I send packages instead of chapters. My first book is called If There's a Mailbox in Heaven. That was released in 2012. When I started writing this book and started sharing the concept, friends and family came to me and they said, whoa, 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 whoa. I want to write to Christina. So the last package of that book contains 50 letters from people of all ages and all walks of life. They were all inspired by Christina. And the irony of that package is most of those people were inspired and never even met her. They decided to make the moments count after they witnessed from Christina's story what she accomplished at the age of 10. Then the journey continues. It didn't end because more people came into my life that I could encourage by sharing. So people said, it's time for the second book. The second book needs to be more about your journey, Celeste. That's what they would say to me. And I'd say, you know, you're right, because as much as I say that this is Christina's journey, it's my journey too. So the second book, which was released the end of 2019, is called When Your Voice Became Mine. There is a mailbox in heaven. I am Christina's voice, and I intend to be her voice as long as I'm here. And my hope and my prayer is that by sharing all the life lessons I've learned, that those get carried down from generation to generation and give other people that same encouragement, that same hope. Many times my books are given as gifts, and I'd like to offer this to you now. If you would like to reach out to me, if you would like me to personalize a book for a loved one or send a note with it, I could help you coordinate that. Everything I do is called Mailbox in Heaven. My website, mailboxinheaven.com. Facebook, Instagram, social media, Mailbox in Heaven. Reach out and I'd be happy to help you. Does a grief journey for any of us ever end? No. Grief is not something we walk out of. It's the new person we discover while we're in it. 16 years later, is my road straight and narrow because it's been in time? No. I still get the loop-de-loops. I get the blindsided curves. Hey, I didn't sign up for this. Who signs up for this club? In fact, in my second book, there's a whole chapter. It's called The Club We Do Not Choose. But if we accept this membership and work on the actions that we do have control over, that is how we learn and grow. Every time we pour into someone else, our new purpose grows. We're not fixed, but we're using our brokenness for good. That is living. That is purpose. And that is how we go on. With my heart and Christina's heart, I thank you for the privilege of sharing today. And I will be here right now for questions. Thank you so much.